Grocery retailer Pick n Pay released their half-year financial results for the 6 months ended August 2022. They reported group turnover at 51.3 billion rand. That's up 11.5% year-on-year, while headline earnings per share came in at 88.75 cents, an increase of 25.3% on the year prior. The retailer has in turn raised the dividend to shareholders to 44.85 cents per share compared to 35.8 cents before. Well, to give us some sense of what's been happening behind the numbers, I'm joined by Pieter Boone. He's the CEO at Pick n Pay. Thank you very much, Pieter, for joining us. This appears to be a solid half-year performance. What were the key drivers behind the performance?
Well, I would say it's a decent first half. I would say I'm a little bit more modest in that sense, but nevertheless, thank you for the compliment. I think overall it has to do with the fact that we started executing our strategy, which we shared with the market in May, and I think there are some good proof points in that. And that's first of all, first building block is the refinement of our customer value proposition within Pick n Pay Retail and Pick n Pay as well as Pick n Pay QualiSave. Secondly, market-beating growth dynamics in our discount model Boxer, as well as in our clothing division, but as well as a further step-up change in our online value proposition. So I think all those three elements, four elements together, I'm quite pleased in order to see the progress that we have made. But also I'm quite realistic. There's still a lot of work to be done within the retail part of our business.
Yeah, so you managed to increase your profit despite several headwinds like higher inflation, hard-pressed consumers, load shedding and other factors. So where do you think you were able to drive efficiencies in the period?
Well, a few things. I think first of all, we have been able to take more strategic initiatives when it comes to on the commercial part, strategic buying initiatives in order to buy on a rising market. And with that, have been able to maintain an internal inflation which is lower than the recorded CPI food inflation for the first half. So with that, have been able to continue to create a compelling offer to the communities and customers that we serve, but as well as in order to drive more efficiency improvements, be it in our supply chain, but also within our stores in that sense. But you're right. The impact of not only load shedding, but also still the aftermath of the looting of last year. You can observe that in extra security costs and extra insurance costs. So the first half cost us an extra 110 million in profitability as a consequence of load shedding, extra diesel, insurance cost and security cost.
Yes, speaking around the issue of extra diesel, does Pick n Pay have a strategy to invest in alternative energy as companies in other industries are deciding to do, given that this load shedding issue looks to be a long-term one?
Yeah, unfortunately, you're right. Yes, it's part of our strategic initiative, also part of the plan in relation to our ESG. You will see in our new Eastport DC, we are fully on solar, and as a consequence of that building will have a green label. And of course, we are in close contact and discussions with the landlords, whereby we occupy in the centers in order to convince them, in order to find alternative sources than only electricity from the grid.
Yes. So what are you seeing in terms of online demand? Is that still a growth area, or has it stabilized since the economy has become more open after COVID?
No, it's clearly still a growth engine, also a growth engine in our business. Reported for the first half a growth of 82% in our online on demand, ASAP, a growth of over 200%. Customers are not eating more, but shopping differently, and there's a responsibility, I think, for every retailer, definitely in our strategic agenda, in order to have the best compelling offer in place when it comes to an online value proposition.
Yeah. So, Pieter, lastly, how do you see the consumer, the condition of the consumer, and what's the outlook as we all go into 2023?
Well, the outlook, and that's something we have shared as well with the market. We are a little bit cautious in that sense for the remainder part of the year, and that's mainly in relation to the macroeconomic developments in the country, as well as load shedding. Nevertheless, I'm also an optimist, and I think if you look at the proof points out of the execution of our strategy, that gives me the confidence that we are on the right path. But again, there's still a lot of things to do, but we have an engaged and committed team that's willing to go the extra mile. And the good thing is that for those revamped stores, we do see good customer feedback, be it in traffic, be it in basket development, but also when it comes to the Net Promoter Score that we realize out of those stores. And we will accelerate that further.
Excellent. Pieter, thank you so much for your time and giving us a sense of what's been happening behind the scenes. Pieter Boone, he's the CEO at Pick n Pay.